Hello friends, today we are going to solve Carney's method. Okay, Carney's method is basically another method for solving indeterminate beams, that is continuous beams, or it may be a portal frame, it may be multi-bay frame, multi-story frame, and Carney's method is relatively very easy method as compared to other methods like slope deflection or say moment distribution method or say stiffness method. Okay, so we are going to solve three problems of Carney's method. Every problem is distinct in its nature. Okay, and let us start with Carney's method now. Basically, I'm assuming that you already know what are fixed end moments. Okay, as you can see, there are four steps, and the first step is to find fixed end moments, and this is our first problem. Okay, so fixed end moments, I'm assuming that you people might know, and if you also don't know what are fixed end moments, don't worry, I have got you there. Actually, I've tabulated what are fixed end moments here. So these are fixed end moments for different cases. This is a point load which is acting at the center. Then there's a point load which is acting at a distance a. Then there are 2 point loads and many different kinds of loadings are there. Okay, so what you can do is, if you don't know what are fixed end moments, you can just pause the video here. You can take a note of all the fixed end moments. All right, and basically the moments that we require are for a point load at a distance a point load at acting at center, and a UDL. So these are the only fixed end moments that we require. All right, so basically, why do we require fixed end moments? Our first basic assumption for solving an indeterminate beam is that apart from the end joints, that is here A and D are the end joints and B and C are the intermediate joints, correct? So apart from the end joints, all the intermediate joints are considered to be fixed. Okay, that is our first primary assumption that is to be followed for solving any type of indeterminate structure. So what happens now if I take the member AB? My end joint A is already fixed. I'm considering my joint B to be fixed as well. That is my assumption. So when my load is acting 80 kilonewtons, it deflects in this manner, correct? So the moments that are formed here on the both ends are the fixed end moments. That is the reason we have to find the fixed end moment for every member, that is member AB, BC and CD. So let's start with our step 1, assuming that you have already know the fixed moments and you have seen the fixed moments in the table. So my MFAB, that is fixed end moment for AB, is minus WAB square by L square, where W is 80, A is 1, B is 2 and L is 3. That is 1 plus 2, 3. Okay, so why have I taken minus sign here? The negative sign I have taken deliberately because the 80 kilonewton is trying to sag my beam. Okay, it is trying to bend my beam like this in a sagging nature. So the moments formed at A is of anti-clockwise nature. It is a resisting moment of anti-clockwise nature, and as per my sign convention, I am taking anti-clockwise as negative. That is the reason MFAB is minus WAB square by L square, which is equal to minus 35.5556. Okay, kilonewton meter. Now we come to MFBA, that is fixed end moment at this joint, the intermediate joint B. It is WA square B by L square, where W is 80, A is again 1, B is 2 and L is 3, the length of the member. And it is positive because here a clockwise resisting moment occurs, and according to my sign convention, clockwise is positive. So it comes up to be 17.7778 kilonewton meter. You can choose your own sign convention. You can take anti-clockwise as positive, clockwise as negative, but the care has to be taken that the sign convention that you follow has to be followed throughout the sum, till the sum gets completed. Okay, so let us find the other fixed end moments here. MFBC is minus WL square by 12. Again, the sign convention as I had mentioned earlier, it is minus WL square by 12. So W is 50, L is 4 meters, and the MFBC we get as minus 66.6667 kilonewton meter. Then we come to MFCB, which is plus WL square by 12. The magnitude of both the fixed moments MFBC and MFCB are same, but the signs are different. That is, the nature is different, magnitude is same. So again it is 66.6667 kilonewton meter. Then comes MFCD. MFCD, that is fixed moment at this joint, intermediate joint. It is minus WAB square by L square. You can either use this formula or you can also use the formula WL by 8. So WL by 8 or minus WAB square by L square, where W is 40, A is 2, B is again 2, and L is 4. Why can you use WL by 8? Because this load is acting at the center of my member. Okay, so you can use this formula or that formula. And the result that we get is minus 20 kilonewton meter. Now MFDC. MFDC is again WA square B by L square, which is 40 into 2 square into 2 by 4 square. L is 4. So we get plus 20 kilonewton meter. So I hope the fixed end moments are very clear to you. That was our step 1. Okay. Now step 2, which is very important for Kari's problem, is rotation factors. Okay. Let us see what are rotation factors. Rotation factor is similar to, if you have done moment distribution method, it is similar to the distribution factors that we find in moment distribution method. But if you have not done moment distribution method, I'll explain you what are rotation factors. Okay, so apart from my end joints being A and D, I'll leave those joints and I'll only consider my intermediate joints. Intermediate joints, basically those joints which connect two members. So here the two joints are B and C. Okay, B is connecting BA as well as BC, and C is connecting CB as well as CD. That is the reason they are called as intermediate joints. Okay, so member BA, BC, CB, CD. So first column is our joint, which is B and C. Second column is member, the members which are connected to my joints. That is, for B it is BA and BC, for C it is CB and CD. Third column is relative stiffness. If you're new to this concept, relative stiffness, I'll just shortly explain to you what which formula is to be used where. Okay, if you have done moment distribution method, you might be already knowing which formula is to be used, but if you have not done moment distribution method, don't worry. We'll see the small short example for relative stiffness. Here B is my intermediate support. Okay, and the two members that it is connecting is BA and BC. Alright, if the far off end is fixed, that is for BA, this is the far off end which is fixed, then the relative stiffness formula is EI by L1, where L1 is the length of member BA. Okay, very easy. If my far off end is fixed, then this is the formula that is to be used. If my far off end is hinged or it is a roller, that is basically it is a pin jointed. If it is a pin jointed, then my relative stiffness is 3 by 4 EI by L2. L2 is the length of member BC. Okay, so this is very simple, and the same thing that we have used here. In our case, all the joints are fixed. There is no pin jointed, because we are also considering the intermediate supports to be fixed and the ends are already fixed, so there is no pin jointed. That is the reason all my relative stiffness formula would be EI by L, as you can see here. But the point to note here is that my I is changing everywhere. For every member I have a different I. E is constant. Okay, so for member BA, E into 1.5 I by L. L is the length of the member. That is my relative stiffness of BA. For BC, it is E into 2I by L, which is E into 2I by L is 4. So that is relative stiffness for BC. For CB, again it is E into 2I by L, and for CD it is E into I by L, that is 4. I hope you are clear with the relative stiffness concept. Now it is total relative stiffness. Total relative stiffness is basically summation of these two for one joint, that is for joint B. It is summation of relative stiffness of BA and BC, and for joint C it is summation of relative stiffness of CB and CD. So if I sum it up, I get only EI, and if I sum these two, I get 3 by 4 EI. Okay, very simple. Next column is distribution factor, which you encounter while solving moment distribution method, and this is basically relative stiffness for member divided by total relative stiffness. So if I divide relative stiffness of BA to total relative stiffness, I get 0.5. That is distribution factor for BA. Again, same thing for BC. If I divide relative stiffness of BC with total relative stiffness, I get distribution factor for BC. Fair enough? Yeah. Next, we'll find distribution factor for CBCD. Again, the same concept is to be used. 2 EI by 4 divided by 3 EI by 4, I get 0.6667. Okay, and for CD it is EI by 4 divided by 3 EI by 4, I get 0.333. I've got my distribution factors, and finally what we require, rotation factor, that is my final column. It is minus of 0.5 into distribution factor, that is, it is my negative of half of distribution factor. So I just multiply my distribution factors by minus 0.5. I get my rotation factors as minus 0.25, minus 0.25, minus 0.3333, and minus 0.1667. So we are done with our step 2 of rotation factors. Now I'll move on to our main step, that is drawing the Carney's box. Okay, this is the most important step in Carney's method, that is to draw the Carney's box. So this is nothing, I've just drawn my beam here, this straight continuous beam with joints A, B, C and D. Now what I have to focus is on my intermediate joints, I'm sorry. So my intermediate joints are B and C. Okay, I've drawn these two small boxes, as you can see here, around my intermediate supports, and here at this end AB, I'll write the fixed end moment of AB, that is MFAB, which is minus 35.5556. Here I'll write the fixed end moment of BA, because we are seeing it from B side, so it is MFBA. Here it was MFAB, from here it is MFBA, which is equal to 17.7778 kilonewton meter. Here I'll write the fixed end moment of MFBC, because we are looking from this side, so MFBC, it is minus 66.667. Here it is MFCB again, 66.667. Okay, here it is MFCD, minus 20, and from this side MFDC, plus 20. So I hope you're clear with these values, the values that are written outside the boxes. The values that are written inside the boxes are rotation factor for BA, because we are looking the beam from joint B to A. So rotation factor of BA is written here inside the box, minus 0.25. Rotation factor for BC, because we are looking the beam from B to C, it is written here inside the box again. This is rotation factor for CB, which is minus 0.333, and rotation factor for CD, which is minus 0.1667. Clear how the box is to be drawn? This is basically the Carney's box, and following which we have to calculate few iterations. We have to do few iterations which are very easy. Okay, so basically I'll just guide you throughout the process, don't worry. Okay, so before actually looking into the iteration process, we have to fill these empty boxes here. Okay, these empty boxes would also be filled. Here it is basically summation of your fixed end moments which are adjacent to the box. Okay, it is summation, so it is equal to this value plus this value, which is minus 48.889. So I've just summed it up and I have to write it in the middle of the box. Same here, it is this value plus this value, the summation of the adjacent fixed end moments of the boxes, and you have to write it in the box, in the center box. So this has to be done before the iteration. This is completion of my first step, okay, and then we'll have to start the iteration process. So as you can see here, this is our Kani's box. That is the first step that we had made. Now we have to follow first iteration. Okay, the first iteration is basically we have to write 0 and 0 at the fixed ends, that is at the end joints where the iteration value is always 0. Okay, this is our first step. The first iteration value here is 12.222. How did this value come? I'll explain it to you. Okay, it is the summation moment minus 48.889 plus the latest iteration value of the left support. Please take care of the word latest. I'll explain it to you why the latest word is more important here. The latest iteration value of the left support, just a minute. Okay, the latest iteration value of the left support, that is 0, plus the latest iteration value of the right support, which is nothing there, so it is obviously 0. Since nothing is there, so it is 0, into the rotation factor of my BA. So the iteration value of BA comes up to be 12.222. Fine, very easy. We'll see the iteration value of BC. Again, it is the same thing. The summation value, that is minus 48.889 summation moment, plus the latest iteration value of left support, that is since A is to the left of B, and the latest iteration value is 0, plus the latest iteration value of the right support since C is right of B, and the latest iteration value is again nothing, so we'll take it as 0, into minus 0.25, which is rotation factor of BC. So we get the iteration value of BC, that is 12.222 again. Fine, fair enough. Now we'll see the iteration value of CB, which is equal to minus 19.63. How did we get to this value? It is first of all 46.667, the summation moment, plus the latest iteration value of left support, and since B is to the left of C and the latest iteration value is 12.222, it is not 0, it is 12.222, and the latest iteration value of right support, which is 0, into rotation factor of CB. So we get the iteration value of CB, okay, which is minus 19.63. Again, we'll see here how did we get this value. It is 46.667 plus the latest iteration value of left support, that is 12.222, plus latest iteration value of right support, which is 0, into rotation factor of CD, which is minus 0.1667, and we get the iteration value of CD, which is equal to minus 9.8148. okay, this is our first iteration completed. We have to do a second iteration again. We first write 0 and 0 at the ends. Since it is fixed, it has to be 0 0. Basically, at almost in most of the cases, at the end joints we get the iteration value as 0. We have to write the iteration value as 0 at the end joints. Okay, first iteration value of BA is 17.13. How did we get that? It is minus 48.889, the summation moment, plus the latest iteration value of left support, plus latest iteration value of right support, which is now minus 19.63. okay, earlier it was 0 since nothing was there, but now there is one value which is minus 19.63 into minus 0.25, which is rotation factor of BA. So we get the iteration value of BA. Iteration value of BC is again similar, minus 48.889, the summation moment, plus latest iteration value of left support, plus latest iteration value of right support, into rotation factor of BC. We get iteration value of BC. Iteration value of CB is 46.667, summation moment, plus 17.13, which is latest iteration value of left support, plus latest iteration value of right support, which is 0, into rotation factor of CB. Thus we get the iteration value of CB, which is minus 21.265. Okay, iteration value of CD is 46.667, that is summation moment, plus latest iteration value of left support, which is 17.13, plus latest iteration value of right support, which is 0, into rotation factor of CD is equal to minus 10.633, which is my iteration value for CD. So I hope this process is very clear to you. Okay, so now we'll start filling the values here in Excel, which is equal to my summation moment plus latest iteration value of left support plus latest iteration value of right support, which is currently 0, into my rotation factor of BA. Again here we'll write the same thing, summation moment plus latest iteration value of left support plus latest iteration value of right support into my rotation factor, which is equal to 12.22. Here it is equal to summation moment plus latest iteration value of left support plus latest iteration value of right support into the rotation factor. Okay, into rotation factor. Oh, what happened here? Yeah, got it. Minus 19.63. Here again, summation moment plus latest iteration value of left support, that is B, plus latest iteration value of right support, that is D, into rotation factor. Okay, I'll just do here, I'll fix them, I'll fix these values because that'll be easier for me later on in Excel. Just bear with me. And it's almost done. Okay, so now we come to our second iteration. Again we write 0 here, at the ends we write it as 0. Okay, since I'm in Excel I can do this, but this is basically the same thing. Minus 48.889, that is summation moment plus latest iteration value of left support plus latest iteration value of right support into the rotation factor. Okay, it's one and the same thing. I'm just copying and pasting it because I can do it in Excel, but the formula remains the same. Alright, we'll again check it. So this is basically 46.667 plus latest iteration value of left support for B, that is B, and latest iteration value of right support, that is 0, into 0.33 minus 0.333, that is rotation factor of CB. So we have completed our second iteration. You have to do these iterations till, I'll just tell you. Okay, till what happens is that you have to do this iteration till these two values come out to be equal. You can see there is very less difference between these two values. So when these two values come out to be equal, you have to stop your iteration. So here I had to do 1 2 3 4 5 times. I had to do the iteration to get the two values equal. Okay, so these are my final values which I have to use to find my final moments. Alright, so what I do here is that I draw the beam again. I write my fixed end moments here. These are my fixed end moments for AB, BA, BC, CB, CD and DC. Okay, below that I write my last values that I found here, that is 0, 17.575, this value here, this value here, minus 10.707 and 0. Okay, so this has to be done. The next step is that I have to copy these values same as they are. I just have to copy them and I have to paste them again. Oops. Okay, I have to paste them again here. These are the same values, and now what you have to do is you have to cross not cross multiply, but you have to just take them in the cross directions. I'll show you how you have to do it. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to write this value here is equal to this. You have to write this value here, which is 0. You have to write this value here. I hope you got this step. You just have to bring this value to the next immediate member, that is from C we have to bring it to B, from here A to B, B to A, B to C, C to B again, is equal to 17.575. This is equal to 0 and this is equal to minus 10.707. okay, so to find final moments now you just have to add them. Oops. What you do is you add them, is equal to summation of moments, summation from this to this. So these are my final moments, and as you can see here, these two values has to match. They have to be equal in magnitude but opposite in nature. Okay, so here it is 52.929, here it is minus 52.930, approximately equal but minus opposite in nature. Here it is 41.414, it is minus 41.414. so these are my final moments. You can just highlight them if you want. Make them bold. These are my final moments that we have to find out. So we have successfully analyzed this beam and our problem 1 is complete.